Hello. Today's episode is about that inner radiance. I'm so excited to talk to someone who is about being well, whole, and empowered. You are going to have so much fun listening to Brooke Nichol. She's a registered nurse, a certified aesthetic nurse specialist, and the founder of Saving Face in Austin, Texas. And you'll learn that she's a pioneer in the aesthetics industry. She goes way, way back. I can't wait for her to tell you how she's learned all the things and from whom she's learned from. It's very cool. But
Mm.
behind every treatment is more than just a syringe and a smile. You'll get Brooke's heart, her total presence,
Mm.
and you'll just be in the presence of her being. So I hope that you get to feel a bit of that energy through our voices today, and you will learn about her transformation and how she helps others feel confident in their own skin each and every day. Welcome, Brooke.
Mm. Aw, thank you, Terry. What a sweet introduction. I'm so grateful to be here. I appreciate you inviting me.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Like, I get the chance to talk to you often, and I actually am a patient at Saving Face. So I get surrounded by the love blanket every time I go. So
Aw.
it would just be so fun for people to learn, like, how you started this incredible space, what you do for your patients, but most of all, like, really to learn about your roots.
Mm.
People that are in Austin might not even know how you got your start, but people who are listening, we have listeners in Sweden and South Africa and Mexico, all over the world. They might be inspired to start a business that is truly rooted in presence and beauty. So I'm
No.
like, let's get into it.
Let's jump right in. Oh my gosh. Well, Roots is this little old girl from Mississippi decided she would take a travel contract. And, this was back in 2003, 2004, where, there was a lot more opportunities for women in business. And so there was a big time starting to see a shortage of nurses while our baby boomers were needing healthcare. And so travel nursing was a huge opportunity then. And I graduated and I thought life has got to offer more than this. Like a lot of people, especially in the South, tend to even, go to school, graduate, get married, have babies. We're on that like, hey, by
Yeah.
24, I'm gonna have my second kid and da 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 da. So but I just felt like there was more to life than that. And um I was a critical care nurse to begin with and took a job out in California. And I went out to LA and started taking travel assignments and just fell in love with it. 80 degrees and sunny every day. It was just
Mm.
super, super fun. And I met some people who worked for a plastic surgeon out there, a famous plastic surgeon. His name's Garth Fisher. He's also a Mississippi native, which was
Oh, I had no
incredible.
idea.
Yeah, he's from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and they were like, "Well, you're a nurse. You should come work with us." And we don't work holidays and weekends, and we just have so much fun. And I thought, "Oh my gosh, well, I'll go. I'll see what plastic surgery nursing is about." And through that, I was introduced to the aesthetic world, and this was in 2007. He asked me to go learn how to do Botox, and at first, Terry, I was like, "Oh, I will never do Botox, and I will
I
never
know.
I will never work with women who do Botox." I was pretty judgy, at the time, and but I needed the continuing education credits, and so I went with him to learn how to do Botox, and her name was Rebecca Fitzgerald. She's one of the top dermatologists in Larchmont, and, I was 27 at the time. I'm 47 now. Can you believe that? 20 years ago?
Same. We're
That's the
like the
first
same
time
age.
that's the first time I've said that out loud. Oh my god, 20 years ago, I had I had my right brain explode when she created an art. She was like, if you look at the upper third and her mid third and her lower third and the fifths across her face, and I realized like as long as I know my anatomy and I take pictures of everyone beforehand, then these crazy women can't blame me for something that was already there, you know? And it became an art, and I became a sponge, and I just got all the training from all the different, vendors out there because this was right when Juvederm was first FDA approved, and so I just wrapped my whole being around the education part and learning how to do aesthetics, and then a couple years later, I said, "Garth, I cannot be in your operating room anymore. I'm so bored." And he was like, "Well, if you're going to inject, come inject for me." And that started my aesthetics career as an injector. And then, shoot, to, 7 years later, met my husband, moved to Austin, Texas, and he was like, "Brooke, I think you should start your own business here." And I've had this moment twice in my life where I felt the presence, like this undeniable presence of God that you were on the right path, that
Mm.
unexplainable, like just all encompassing, like this is where I'm supposed to be. And it was when I discovered the first location. I call it the treehouse, and I'm in a treehouse now, but it was like, a two-bedroom little back house. It's called the Carriage House
Oh,
in Austin,
yes. I know the
Texas.
carriage house.
Yes, behind the Caswell House for the Austin, Junior Forum.
Yeah.
And so I started there in
Oh,
2013. That's where Saving Face just all everything aligned, and it was just like, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna do it." And so often, I tell people with a $5,000 loan from my husband, we started Saving Face.
a multi-million-dollar company. Like, you're crushing it.
Thank you. It was
Yeah.
his best investment by far, for sure.
Yes. It's so wild to think I remember, like, watching 90210 or The Hills or something, and Garth would his name would
Yeah,
pop up, like, so
yeah.
it's so fun to hear that, when many people are new to this game, as they say in the songs, "You are true to this game. You've been doing this for a very
A
long
long
time."
time. Well,
You know?
we were doing Extreme Makeover when it was the people version, you know?
Yes,
Yeah, so
yes.
I worked with him on Extreme Makeover. I worked in LA on Nip
I
Tuck. We also did The Swan with Dr. Haworth. Like,
I
remember those
remember
all?
that! Oh my
Yes.
god!
Yeah, we
So
did The Biggest
fun.
Loser. One of us we were doing, body lifts for The Biggest Loser. It was wild.
What a time. And I can say, I am newer to all of this. I had Botox at Saving Face 2 weeks ago. And I remember you came to check on me. And I was like, I am so nervous and I am scared to be bruised. I survived. And I feel like I need more. And like, and so we go from like none to like all the things really quick.
It's establishing the trust, right? It's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I love this." And it's like,
And it wasn't so
it
bad.
yeah, and then it's baby steps and, we have all the tools. I was like, "Bring out the vein finder. Let's make sure we don't bruise her. She's gonna be on film next week." So, no, I think it is about establishing trust with the client because it's your face. Like, you should be nervous and you should wanna know who's got experience and their credentials and look at their before and afters. Make sure you really trust them before you get into their chair. And, yeah, and earning their trust by, like, sometimes we just start with a little bit of Botox or skincare and then a little bit of laser, and then we slowly graduate to where now I have earned the trust of my clients to where they sit down and say, "Just do what you need." And that's it, and
Yeah.
it's such an awesome, honor to be able to serve patients like that.
Oh, I love it. I want to know, like, what were those foundational values, or the
Mm,
things that you put in place, your guiding principles that
yeah,
really ground you, not
yeah.
only in your purpose, but in like your presence. And you bring so much of who you are into your work. And that's not easily done. So I want to know, like, how do you do that?
Mm. Well, Even from the beginning, before I even knew what like a mission statement was and values and all of that, I rooted this in relationships. And people can say that all day long, but no, from the get go, I knew that we were going to be relationship centric and that the results come along for the ride. If you ask any of my employees or my team members now, what business are we in? They will all tell you relationships because it is so important, and, like, for me, like, yeah, you're coming in for Botox, but there are so many layers to what else is going on and what else we can talk about and how you can show up and serve that patient best, so, for me, relationships has been a founding value of how I've built this business. So I intentionally left out in the beginning, I was a one woman show. I was an injectable only boutique lounge. Okay. So
Oh,
I created relationships with every esthetician in town who would feed me their business because I wasn't in direct competition with them. And then everybody who sent me a friend would all get $50 off. So it was built on referrals and it was built on true investing in relationships, investing in people, investing in their lives. And then organically, the word got out, and I kept growing and growing. And I would just see my schedule get bigger and bigger. And then I was like, I think I need to bring some people in to help me out. And so now our biggest, value is, fierce hospitality and precision. That's what Saving Face is today. 3 locations, almost 30 employees. So
wow.
it's really taken off, but those are still the founding principles of how we show up.
Well, I recently heard you give a talk, and in that talk, you made like a bold statement. I actually passed it along to my hairstylist, and it was like, no discounts ever. You
Mhm.
know, you're not going to discount your time because you're not discounting who you are and the services that you're giving to your clients. I'd love for you just to share more of that philosophy because I just see it as a booster shot of principle that many people can use to really accelerate their business when many times you think a discount would help you out.
Totally, and I'm gonna go ahead and give Jason credit to this because he is who said right away, "Brooke, do not give anybody a discount," and it kinda helped that I was actually new in Austin, so I didn't have any, like, besties or, friends and family that needed to get a discount, and just having that in my brain because what happens as soon as you give somebody a discount, they're gonna expect that every single time, and now you've built a discount culture, and the last thing saving face is a Groupon experience because we're quality over quantity. I even stopped taking 15-minute appointments and I only treat 30 minutes so that I can connect with that patient because they're paying for the experience. Like and you I love that you're a client now, but to come into the door and to experience the culture and the relationship and to just even if it's 15 minutes, like you will leave better than you came because someone has loved on you, complimented you, offered you drinks and nourishment. And it just, they would rather pay a little bit more and feel that great and confident about their product than feel like, oh my God, I got this cheap experience, but I was hustled in and hustled out. And oh, I don't even know if I'm going to look good in 2 weeks. So for me, we're not the most expensive in town and we're definitely not transactional. It is an experience, it's hospitality. And there are times that we do promotions, but we are not your discount
Mm.
aesthetics location. Yeah.
Hey y'all, Terri here. You know I'm all about transformation, and that includes how we care for our bodies. That's why I love Pure Method Collagen by Dr. Dina Peralta Reek. It's clean, science-backed, and made for women who want to feel radiant from the inside out. And don't worry, your favorite guy can use this too. Right now, my Roots and Rebirth family gets 15% off. Just head to puremethod.co and use promo code Terri at checkout. Because rebirth starts with nourishing every part of you, inside and out.
Well, I there's a story that I want to lead you into. We've talked a lot about science and relationships, but you have this beautiful way of merging science and souls. It's
Mhm.
just kind of who you are and it's your core essence. I want to ask you about a time that was really challenging for you that
Mhm.
probably reconnected you with your soul in a way that you never expected, but you were so much greater on the other side.
Well, I love that, science and soul. Um, it's so interesting because that is what I, like, navigate every day. Like,
Mhm.
there are times in an appointment that I am, like, talking about the science and the light and the shadows, and so much of that still, like, coexists with the spirit and the soul and the
Yeah.
presence, and, like, I mean, we'll get into this later maybe, but, like, allowing the presence to make the plan. It's so much about, like, listening and all of the things, but, I mean, there's a couple of times, and if this is my time that I had to reconnect to my soul and I had a restart, there's 2 in my life I'm thinking about, but the first one was when I had long haul COVID, and it wrecked me. I mean, I had to see a cardiologist. I lost my hair. I was in such a depression that I was having out of body. I was just out of my body and observing my life. Um, and it, I could not have a conversation without crying, and
Mm.
especially like to someone like you or someone who I knew who cared and who saw me. They would come in. How are you doing? And like in 2 cents, I would just be weeping, and people come to me to feel better, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh." And finally I was like, "What is going on?" And this virus had gotten into my nervous system, and I had the right people in place to let me know, "Brooke, this is COVID. This is COVID. You're gonna be okay. Like, let's get the help you need and let's move forward." It was just a time where I felt like, in a way, I coulda jumped ship. I could have just said, "You know what? This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I thought my life was gonna look like." You know, I was just really, really sad and depressed. And then I started putting one foot in front of the other. I called a theta healer. Her name's Anita Lane. She was lovely. So I started doing the work, and I started microdosing psilocybin, which was a really, really big part of my story. It's not what you think it is. It's not, a true microdose. You don't feel it. It's just systemically stacks up like an SSRI without having all the side effects of a antidepressant. Um, so that helped me, and within, like, 2 weeks, I was back in my body, and I could be of service,
Wow.
and it was pretty miraculous how that worked.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
A lot of times we hear, like someone is depressed and we don't realize it's truly just your soul disconnected from yourself. And if you really figure out, you know, what you believe in, because a lot of that was led by faith first, and then you accept the tools around you, you know,
Mhm.
the microdosing, the healer, you can truly get your arms around it fast because 2 weeks to
Yeah.
identify a problem and find a solution, it's unheard of when you're talking about, you know, having a heavy soul and being depressed.
Oof. Yes, that time it was and I wanna say it was months leading up to it. Now, long haul COVID, couldn't smell. I couldn't there were so many things, like, a lot of the joy had just been taken away. And then, like, I couldn't eat anything with fat in it, like French fries, which are, like, my
Oh
favorite
my God,
thing
I would
ever.
die.
No french fries. Steak, anything that was, like, heavy in fat, like, I couldn't eat. Like, it was just so and I couldn't even walk upstairs without my heart rate shooting up to, like, 140, and I'm typically at,
Yeah.
like, a 60, so it was just a real interesting and scary time, and at that time, like, no one really knew what was going on and how you were gonna be, and I think you're gonna be okay, but I was so grateful to hit a reset in my marriage, to lean in. I do tell people, they say, "You're gonna be married 3 times in your life, and it's up to you if that's with the same man or 3 different men," and so I'm on number 2. Since then,
That's
I
awesome.
think I'm on number 3.
That's beautiful, though.
Same man, and thank goodness because we have the kids and all of that, and, he's lovely, and I just keep working on me, and, ultimately, too, I gotta tell you this, I just worked with a healer last week because 'cause I've been having this low back pain, and he was incredible, and we did this work where we observed the pain, we put all of our attention onto the pain. He said, "Brooke, you have to stop resisting it, okay? The first thing is we just
Mm,
want it to go away, want it to go away, try to fix, fix, fix." He says, "Let the pain come in, focus on it, like, really, like, see it from the top back, the left, the right, put all this tension around it, and then I want you to just relax everything around it." And then he started saying, "Now let's name it. What is it? What is it?" And the more vulnerable you can get, and the more into your emotion, and I am just like weeping, crying, and then not judging it, that it's not good, it's not
yeah.
bad, and you're okay. So we go through this, and Terry, I was like, "Is this how it is for everyone?" And he looked at me and he said, "Brooke, for every cancer, for every disease, for everything, you have to do the work." And then even if like Jason doesn't choose to do the work, just by me doing the work impacts him, impacts my kids,
Yeah.
everyone in our circle. So it was incredible. And so that really has hit me and it's given me another reset just to do the work.
Yeah, but that is so true. Like you just gave a master class in like how to overcome an obstacle, and
Mm,
it's what you just laid out is something that I've been holding close to my own heart lately. It's, what is it? What is it really? And sometimes you'll
yeah.
figure out it's something from 10, 20 years ago. And then this memory will pop up and you'll be able to really address that. But
Yes.
you also truly have to surrender and let it go. And
Yeah.
when you don't judge it, because we
Yes.
can't think, okay, I'm having a bad thought or whatever it is, because that you have that bad thought, then you're taking that in and becoming anxious. So it's neutral. It's not good. It's
Yes.
not bad. It's neutral.
That's right.
And then you can release it. And usually you find yourself on the other side. And
Yes.
I've recently learned that's also true when we clear our energy because
Mm.
for a long time, now I'm getting into the real woo, but for a long time when I would clear my energy, I would ask, to kind of cleanse myself of any negative energy, anything that was bad. But truly, like now when I walk myself through a body scan and clear my energy, it's not good, it's not bad, it's neutral.
Mm.
And you want to replenish the earth by pushing that energy down so that we can replenish the earth with neutral energy. And so
Mm.
it's as we are, giving, we can also receive. And so
I
that's
love
just
that.
the way that you laid that out, you are giving your best self so
Mm.
that your family can receive that and then they can choose to do the work or not because sometimes they
Right.
might not be able to do it.
That's right. That's right. And
Mm.
not on our time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's been great. This is just yeah, so that's one way I think just and I mean to be clear too, like every day is a rebirth and you know this. You have a
Mm.
steady practice and you know the sadhana the ritual and the daily ritual of enlightenment or for whatever goal it's like when you get into that every day is an invitation back to you and the more I can be in my body and present the more I can help other people get back into their body right and for
Yeah.
them to be present with me so
And just magic happens.
yeah yeah that's where it happens that's for sure
But I love how you tell that story about having long COVID, because
yeah
shortly after that, well, it sounds like, you had this rebirth. You go back into your body and just begin to practice. And then shortly after that, you lost your very best friend on the planet and you were
oh
able to walk her home with
yeah
love and grace
mm.
and still receive, so many lessons throughout that. I'd love for you just to
Mm,
share a little bit about what life was
okay.
like at that time.
Well, that was my awakening. I think I had a small awakening when Jason's father passed and wanted to connect to the spirit side just so I could connect with him. But this opportunity that happened with Allison was an awakening from a belief system in which I had grown up and actually like found again in my adulthood and like, but it was a I can't wait. I'm going to share with you. So, my best friend had cervical cancer. And the end of life was coming a lot sooner than we had all thought. And I had shown up back to Mississippi. And when I show up, my energy and my approach is to let's get the blinds up. Let's get some light in this house. Let's get some energy because Allison was the light and she was the life of the party. And she would have wanted people to come in and to say goodbye and to be in there with her and to just feel her. And anyway, I think on the other side, her husband and his family were just ready to they were tired, exhausted. They had been with her up all night, and I can't imagine the grief and the pain that they were experiencing. And so, also, I think when you are I wanna just say, like, primitive Baptists maybe are, like, into this belief system. Anything that doesn't look like Western medicine probably looks like witchcraft. And so, it
To some.
was yeah, to some. And I think, like, any sort of Reiki, it just Terry, I don't know what it is, but if I am approaching someone who is, like, connected or in the channel or whatever, it's gonna look a little bit like Reiki, and it's just asking God to come through me as a healer and to help heal in the situation, right? Where two or more gathered, I am here and I can and that's kind of what it looks like. And I think in a way this really scared her husband and his father who is in ministry. And he told me that my magic was not welcome in this home. And he told me, he said, "You go ask any of the 4 men in this house if you can put your healing hands on my wife." And Terry, it woke me up and I can't unsee it. And
Mm.
it's like I never had felt inferior, and maybe that was just my lack of education and my lack of research, but to have been talked to like that by supposedly like this, Christian Bible-fearing man, and I I was in shock, and it rocked me to the point where I just I had to have, like, not protection, but, like, someone with me at all times now around them because, it just was, like, such an interesting thing. So, interesting dynamic, because she stayed alive another 3 weeks after that, and I had gone back to wanting to see her and to wanting to say goodbye, and so I would have her dad, have to be in there with me to supervise, everything. But it just was such an interesting time, and it was a crack it was a crack in my foundational belief that opened me up spiritually to something so much greater and so much more full and bigger than what my, like, original box of, like, beliefs had for me, which I don't think is wrong. Like, let's go back to this neutralism. It's not right, it's not wrong. It's just a belief box, right? And so it just broke me out of my belief box, and now I am like, "What is true, and what is true for me?"
Mm.
And what is
Yeah.
true for me, okay? So let me go see who Jesus really was maybe before the 4th century could, um, I don't know what it is today, where it came in, and now we have this literal Christian book that people, want to say 40 days means 40 days and nights. And I'm like, well, maybe it was just a long time. Um, Anyway, I really started studying Mary Magdalene and, like, Thecla and like the women of the Bible and like who the church left out because it didn't serve them and it didn't serve Constantine in the 4th century when they needed it to look a certain way so that you went to church so the church could survive and the church could make money. But if you really know Mary Magdalene and I think the true Jesus story, what they left out was that the power is within, right? That we have the power and that we are all equal, that there is no hierarchy, right? And so that it just feels so good and it just feels so right for me. And that's really what I have been studying. That's what my morning rituals look like now. That's what I'm really like just diving into. Um, the history, um, and maybe what's true for me, you know? So,
Yeah, but the courage to step away from something that, for a long time made you feel safe
yeah,
and stepping into, the unknown, but it was filled with purpose and intention. That is courage and bravery in real time. And, we're alike in this way that we are both religious and spiritual.
yeah,
And there are many people that don't think that you can do that. Probably people in my family think I'm crazy, but you can hold both and you can draw inspiration from both. And,
mm,
you've talked publicly about drawing from that situation. It was truly almost, another rebirth for you in the last five
yeah,
years to where
yeah,
now your study of Mary Magdalene
yeah,
is leading you, to even double down on your spiritual side, but it's also leading you to like thinking of new products, new services. Like it's
yeah,
totally infused this energy against science and soul into your
yeah.
business.
Yes, yeah, 100%. And that's where it's like, this guy who pretty much assaulted me, I almost could, like, thank him. Like, talk about a full
You
circle
probably
but
will one
around. It's
day.
like, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for showing me that, like, that is not the Christianity that I wanna believe in, but also the courage to say, "I'm not throwing Jesus out with the bathwater," right? Like, that isn't the Jesus that I know, who I have a personal relationship. So when we talk about Jesus, I just it's more like a Christ consciousness to, like, live this awareness all the time and not just show up at church on Sundays and, like, da, 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 and I am going through my Christian, life. In a way, there's, like, a lot of freedom and, like, bliss in that, but boy, once you've been, like, spiritually open, you can't unsee it, and you can't stop, like, living this certain way. It's just like there's no going back, so, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And
And
how,
I'm grateful. Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, no, you're grateful for what?
Well, and you mentioned the skincare and the inspiration behind it, and I really I'm not ready to fully talk about that yet, but I just now, like, see the purpose and what happened, right? Like, now I saw, "Oh, this is what's gonna come out of something that was so tragic and so heartbreaking," and I am just now this is, not even 2 years ago, so I am just now able to talk about it without weeping because I literally lost my religion. Like, it was like,
Mm.
you took away a safety net of like, "Oh, this is what I've been taught my whole life, and these are the people," and I couldn't even read her eulogy. Like, you go back and
Mm.
I am not coming from this feminist, F the patriarchy, whatever. Like, I love men, and I think men have an incredible purpose. I don't even think they know when it's the patriarchy in play. But I wasn't even allowed to read the eulogy at my best friend's wedding, and I think being a woman played a part in that. I mean, it could have been that he and I had that whole interaction, but, um, it's really something when you see it, you know? It's really something, but now I'm grateful, and I get to be in a new life. This is the rebirth, you know?
Yeah. And you've had like over the last 2 years, you've had so many beautiful spiritual experiences
Oh,
in
yeah.
Mexico,
Yes.
here at home. I'd love
Yes.
for you, just for people that, are new to woo, are just spiritual modalities. I almost merged those two together. But talk a little bit about the modalities that you've been
Mm,
experiencing. Is that I
yeah.
think they, having heard them, I just think they're so, so awesome.
Yeah, a couple that comes to mind, I think, well, first of all, like, I think we all have the power to connect to our people, our loved ones, if we are just still enough and clear and quiet. I think one beautiful experience is I went on Allison's year anniversary. I tried to go right, like, I can't believe it's been a year since you've been gone. I miss your, and I had to stop because I'm like, well,
Mm,
I don't miss your voice because I hear you in my head. I don't miss your presence because I feel your spirit all around me. I was like, I guess I missed your, hug and your touch and, but I was like, oh, I get it. She's closer to me now than she was ever on this physical
yeah.
plane, right? And that is a gift of just being so connected to her here. And in Mexico, 2 different experiences. One is like through breath work. If you have a breath work practice, you can get there. You don't need medicine. You can get there just through breath work and through being guided into to decalcify the pineal gland and to really have like downloads and literally she showed up for me right next to me and it was just like she was like I'm always here and I could just almost see the outline of her laying next to me, looking up at the trees. And I just know, like, she's okay. She's my angel. She is present. Like, this, she was too big for this life and definitely that man. And so I'm like, girl, she's great. She is so great. And then another one, which was really cool, and I had been called to. Um, and I had connected to my ancestors before through breath work another time, but this one I experienced through a temazcal. And the temazcal is a ritual that the indigenous people would do, especially in Mexico. It looks like an adobe style, like a wood a wood fire pizza oven for humans, basically. But you go into it, and they create steam by bringing in burning coals into the middle, and then they throw like rosemary infused water and a lot of herbs in the middle. And we did hape, which is a shamanic huff, or snuff, whatever you want to say, but it decalcifies again the pineal gland. It helps you stay rooted. It's just a powder that they blow into your nasal passage. And I oh, I can't believe I'm even telling you this, but I'm excited. I was able to channel Jason's grandmother. And
So beautiful.
this was really incredible, and it was just so you were in there with the shaman, and this was like going to church, on a really good, like, guest pastor day where you're just feeling super dialed in, and he was telling us he would sing these songs and play the buffalo drum, and I just said, "Will you tell me what we're singing about before you sing?" As he's gonna sing in Spanish. And, it's a lot about the elements, the wind and the fire and the north, east, west, south, all the directions, and he was just so pure at heart and so genuine, and we talked about, going through our ancestors, and it was really about, starts with the fire on the night that you were conceived. So the fire between your mother and your father, whether they are together now or not, there had to have been fire for you to be here. And so we sang about that. Then we sang about it, it kept going up and up. It's about our grandparents. And I sat down and he yeah, my back was hurting at that time, and he was like, "If you have any ailments, like, put your back towards the fire, let it act like a laser for your pain." And, I sat with my back next to the fire, and I heard her say, "If I'm coming through, you better sit up straight, child." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I sat up so straight, and I mean, I was just channeling her. It was incredible. I felt her come through on my left side, and she was basically, um showing me who she was through Jay, like telling me like, that's my boy. Like, and I could feel her love for him. And I could feel in this moment us creating this contract of like, I will love him and I am committed to him and I will love him. And, it was like she and I. And now to this day, I think it's a two-way street. If you're going to have a contract, I can't just show up for her and do what she wants me to do for him. I'm like, okay, help me. Help
Yeah.
me, Marguerite. And so,
Yeah.
but it was something really beautiful to the point where I could feel the love for him that sometimes, like in a marriage and in our everyday life, like I don't always have that goo goo feeling or whatever, but she let me feel that and let me just kind of have that moment of love that, like, a lot of times I just so desire. And then it was just this contract of like, I am going to help him and be with him and love him through this life. And
Mhm.
with her help, we get to do that. We get to show up every day in my
Yes.
marriage very fully.
That's so beautiful, though. There are
Yeah,
two
it's
things that
sweet.
I want to comment on. One is my grandmother's name was Margaret.
Oh!
And I did hear her one time, actually on my wedding day. I was
Mm,
getting my hair done by our neighbor. Actually, our family hairstylist lives across the street from my mother, and he's been doing my mother's hair since he was in his 20s, and he's now in his 60s. So he did my hair on my high school graduation day, college graduation day, wedding day, like all the
oh,
days.
oh,
And I heard this voice so clearly saying, "Do not get married. You will not be happy." And it
oh,
was so very clear.
oh,
And I reacted out loud. I said, "No, I will. It's fine. I'm always fine. Like this is going to be great, like just." And my
mm,
hairstylist said, "What did you say?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Oh, my hair's fine. Like it looks great." Truthfully, I had just cut off all my hair 2 weeks before my wedding, which probably was a sign of distress.
oh my
um, you know,
goodness.
but
Oh my goodness.
late, but later, um, in a session with Tina Powers, who's this incredible medium, my grandmother showed up and said she is a helper and she wanted me to call on her
Mm,
because she has been wanting to help and I haven't called on her. So you're absolutely right.
yeah, yeah.
It is a two-way street and they do want to help us and they are here for us. But if we are still, we will get the message.
That's right.
So
That's right. If we can listen and, like you said, ask. I think that's so true. Calling out their names and asking them, please show up today. Help guide me,
yeah,
remove these obstacles and all for the highest good. And, it's just I think having them ascended, they can see where our patterns are
yeah,
and like what our mistakes are. And I think they want what's best for us. And so calling on them to come in and to help me not miss what's meant for me, right? Like, help me be still and present enough to, you know, follow the signs and the purpose that I'm here for.
yeah. And if anybody's listening or watching and you want to know more about how to learn how to listen for those signs or ask for them, I always recommend two books. One is Laura Lynn Jackson's Signs. It's just this
Yep.
beautiful book about the reminders all around us. And then the other one is Trust Your Guides by
Mm,
Sonia Coquette. And those two books have taught me so much, I guess about a year ago. I was in the airport with my boyfriend and just walking through, and he's like holding my bags and his bags, and we're like running to catch a flight because we have tight connection. And I was just thinking how my ex husband would have never done that. I would have had to hold my own bags and run, and then he would have yelled at me for not running fast enough, And I was just like, I wonder if my dad would like him, if my dad would think that, I should be like hanging out with David. And all of a sudden, we're in the Atlanta airport and the music goes from like pop music to like this to the Temptations. And that was one of my dad's favorite bands. And then I caught it and I was like, what? Is that you? And then the music changes back.
Back to pop. Oh my God. He's like, yes. Yes, I want a man who carries your bags.
Yeah, isn't that wild? And it happens all the time when I ask. So I love that you brought that up.
I love it. That
Yeah.
book, The Signs, helped me so much, and when Allie passed, like, there was just I think 3 different people recommended it, and I was like, "Okay, I'm on it," but
Yeah,
it is a
so
great book for
good.
anyone getting just started in your spiritual walk, and yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I also want to talk a little bit about, breath work. I didn't know what plant medicine was until a year and a half ago. I had no idea. I went to school in the 80s. Nancy Reagan said, just say no to drugs. And I said, yes. I said, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Like,
Yep.
so my first breath work experience was before I even knew what plant medicine was.
Yeah.
And someone did it remotely during COVID over Zoom. And when I tell you, I think it is what it is like to do ecstasy, although I have not done ecstasy. It was the first time I felt like my body took a vacation for like a month or a whole like soul's rest and just this incredible thing that we can do. And, for me, it was a 90-minute breath work session, but it doesn't have to be 90 minutes. It can be, 9 minutes before we start our day or in between meetings. It's something that we should integrate more into our lives because there's so much good for us. It helps us be more creative, helps us relieve stress during the day and all the things.
All the things. No, your breath it's so interesting because it's your tool. It's free. It's always with you. It's like, I guide my girls a lot of times in our powwows, our every other week full company meeting. We start with breath. We start with dropping in with breath because you've got to be present. And when you can connect to your breath, I think the best thing, if we talk about anything breath work, guys, stop breathing in your chest and take it down to your stomach. I think we're all like these chest breathers and everybody has all this anxiety and their nervous system's out of whack. But if we just start really just breathing correctly, which is just every day, really focusing on, is my belly expanding? Am I bringing breath all the way down? Because I think even that can start regulating your own nervous system. And then also, anybody who under stress, anxiety, box breathing kind of gets you back in your body. And I gotta say, my addict is big. Okay. So I like the transcendental like high that I get from like really, doing breath work. And we're talking like, Joe Dispenza breath work, like where you're getting into like theta states of like changing the neuroplasticity in your brain, right? So we're talking like,
Yeah.
I want to breathe deep. I want to get there. I want to like borderline pass out, right? So that I can say, okay, God, boom, give me the downloads, or connect to Allie, or connect to whoever, Jason's grandmother. So it's like, give me, what do I need? Like, let me go there and bliss out, right? So I think too, it's funny because I always feel like I need a guide, but
Yeah,
I
we
could
can
do it
do it
myself.
ourselves.
I could do it
Yes.
myself. And that's the difference too. I think a lot of times that's what medicine, the role, plant medicine plays in psychedelics right now is that, yeah, incredible. Jason did ayahuasca for his 50th birthday and he did 4 sessions in Costa Rica with a shaman and it was amazing. And you could also, if you just did breath work every single day and, and journaled what what came up, you probably have the same experience. I just think medicine can do it probably faster. And, they say, I think in 6 hours of ayahuasca, you could have 6 years of therapy. So
Yeah.
I think that it could probably access you to that DMT, to the God molecule, all of that faster. But also, too, you could do the work and get there with your breath. So,
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, you intuitively went to where I was going to go next. And, you truly do have like this incredible, successful business with 3 locations in Austin, another one on the way. How do you connect, to soul, to self, to your staff? Because they embody everything you talked about. They're exactly what you said. They will give you a real compliment. They will
yeah.
totally love on you and are so like they all ask for pictures from my, award ceremony the other day. They like truly are interested. How do you share your heart in a way that, it transfers energy to them? how do you make your hires? Like, tell us all, like, your secret here.
Well, I have an incredible team, and they they are just some of them do Terry, I know that some of them are brought to me from their ancestors. They're just like, "Yep, you're gonna go to work with Brooke, and we're gonna heal some stuff." Um, it's funny though, my executive coach, not too long ago, she was like, "And we're gonna stop saving people, and we're gonna hire people not for their potential, but for who they are." And I'm like, "Oh, it's just whatever." So I do think that, you know, I think that they mimic who you are, right? So if you show up authentic, I'm very transparent. I am very vulnerable, probably to the point where I could overshare at times, but I show them and I provide safety and an environment to where they can come in and truly be their authentic self. And I invest in their emotional IQ. So I am bringing in people who are experts in communication, who are experts in nervous system regulation. And so they are getting coached by more than just me, but by people who coach me. And so I think that pouring into your team, that overflow gets to the client experience, right? And so now you're getting felt. You're experiencing that love hug because I've given that opportunity for them in our meetings and just in an investment that I think is priceless. So, yeah, I show up fully because I set my morning intention that way, and it has to start that way. And then I invest in my team, t- not just and so much to the point, though, this is funny. So much to the point where my executive coach was like, "Have they forgotten that we are still running a business here? Like there's so much into the relationship that they forgot to make a transaction." And I'm like, well, and we also teach them like sales. You're not selling if you're educating something on something you believe in and something that they need. So, you're just telling them, and it's like changing their mind around what their belief systems around, like, ooh, selling feels icky. And I'm like, well, we're not selling because we believe in everything we have and they need it. So when someone needs something and you're educating them, then we should be talking about that too. So, anywho, that is how I believe that I have a team who is really dialed in, is because I really, really invest in their emotional intelligence.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We've made it to the end. So there's some
Okay.
lightning round of
Yes, yeah, yeah.
questions.
I'm prepared. I got it.
All right. So your husband, Jason, is on the executive team of Saving Face. How do you guys work together, live together, play together, do all the things together?
Oof. Well, it's not it's sometimes real clunky. And it's not always great. I gotta tell you, you have to know your polarities in the bedroom, and we do. So that's good. But I think it's really tricky. And I do believe that we are on a path where Jason is going to move into something more of his own, more of something that feels uniquely authentic to him, so that Saving Face can kind of just play in my bucket. So we also have a lot of boundaries around like date night. We don't talk about work. Bedroom, we don't talk about work. So there are a lot of boundaries around how this has been for the last 5 years that he's been working with me. But there also is future plans, I think, just to get Jason his own thing, because he is so invaluable and has so much to teach men. And so whether that is like the men's protocol or just something where he leads men back to saving face, but at least it's something that he has his own creative outlet and his own thing, because he just is a wealth of knowledge and experience that can help any man, with what he's been through. He can help any of them, if he can share his experience and get them the help that they need. So, yeah, so we're actually working on trying to. I'm not going to say save our marriage, but it's like I respect our marriage so much that I think Jason doing his own thing is only going to help us have a more healthy relationship.
Hey, y'all, it's Terri. You know, I believe in soul work that sticks. And that's why I've partnered with Lumenkind to create my very own Mindful Mark packs, Movement Maker, and the Great Me set. Whether you're moving through a loss, leading a movement, or just need to hit pause with purpose, there's a mark for that. Head over to lumenkind.com and use Terri15 to get 15% off. Let's wear our intentions, have a mindful moment, and walk in purpose every day. You're a brighter being, and I'm cheering you on.
Yes, good for you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
What's one book that you'd recommend if you could only
Ooh.
recommend one book?
Wait,
to someone?
okay, hang on, hang on. I was trying to prepare and I was like, "Oh, what book am I reading right now?" Oh, or
We
but
can
one
help.
book is one book. I'm thinking, well, The Shack, you know, that one I love
No,
it.
I don't know that book.
Oh my God. Yes, you do. They made a movie out of it. Wait a second, like Oprah Winfrey and all of them made a movie out of it, The Shack. I'm pretty sure you probably even, like, know the people who wrote it. They're from Nashville. Okay, well, we're gonna talk offline about that. I'm gonna say, I mean, I'm really into Brianna West, The Mountain Is You. I'm reading this one right now, The Mountain Is You. But to give props to, a local Austin gal, this Selena Sue wrote Rich Relationships, and it is really great. So if you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business, reading this is just really, really tapping into your network on another level. So I highly
Okay.
recommend Rich Relationships, Selena Sue.
That's for one book. Now I have three I have to read.
Oh, yeah, you'll read The Shack in like one night. You have to go Google it right now.
I will. Okay. I want to know, what is something that's been a major inspiration in your life?
A major inspiration in my life? Oh my gosh. I mean, you're an inspiration in my life. Like, I look at
So,
you and what you do and who you are in this world, and I'm like, Terri is so inspiring for me. I have, you know, I don't know. My kids, they're so inspiring to me. This is why I work so hard and do what I do. Um, I have a really beautiful, beautiful friend, and she's a medium in my life too. Her name is Annalie Ward, and she is just so much love and light and inspiration. Also, too, coming from a Christian background and kind of cracked open to see, the veil was lifted, and you know, just her and the way that she approaches life with love and authenticity and still true to her gift and her talent. And I really think she is a huge inspiration. And then one more, sorry.
yeah.
Stacy Brilliant. She is another bestie of mine who is the most incredible designer. She just spreads like sparkle magic fairy dust everywhere you go. So a lot of part of my success is that when you walk in and how you feel in my clinics is that you're at your bestie's house, right? It doesn't feel sterile or scary. And she is to thank for that. And she's just an inspiration to me. Stage 4 cancer survivor. She's on year 11 and was giving like 2. So she has inspired me to live every day fully. And if it's not fun, then why the hell are we doing it? And
Mhm.
also, like, to be mindful of the words that I choose. Like, I never say like, "Oh, this headache is killing me," or "Oh, da da." Like, I am so aware of like life and death and how to like really choose my words wisely around someone who's been through what she's been through. But she is a miracle to me and such a gift and such a filler. When you have people in your life who there are just you feel good every time you're around them, and when you leave, you just want more. That's Stacy Brilliant.
Yeah. So awesome. Now, if you had to give one final piece of advice to everyone listening, what would it be?
Mm. Oh, goodness. Choose joy.
Mm.
It's so easy. It's not easy when you're depressed, though, so choose psilocybin, but other than that Other than that, choose
Oh my
joy.
God.
When it's a choice, choose joy. I think to going back to a motto that if it's not fun, then why are we doing it? So often we just get wrapped up into this rat race of more, and go, go, go. And even yesterday, being part of a circle that reminded me this is the change of seasons and it's a time that we should go into rest. And we live in a world that every season is summer and spring. And so let's rest and let's remember that, to have fun. So that's my
Yes.
advice.
I have a funny one for you. When you were talking earlier and you said your executive coach was like, you have to be in the mode of holding yourself accountable and not saving them. I wanted to be like, what she meant to say was, you are saving faces. You are not saving souls.
That's right. That is right. I don't know. Sometimes you're saving everything.
It is the same. It's all the same. This has been so much fun. Just thank you for being vulnerable, for your wisdom, sharing your heart. I know so many business owners are going to listen to this and find like more than one nugget of things that they can implement immediately. But we can all, just sprinkle a little magic and choose joy and remember to do our
Absolutely.
breathing exercises. So, oh
That's
my gosh,
right.
so much fun.
That's right. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for having me. And I'm so grateful to know you and to call you friend.
Oh, same. Same. And if you guys are listening, I hope your takeaway from spending time with Brooke today is be rooted in your truth. Always choose yourself. You can always take time to rest and trust your intuition. When you sprinkle that magic, that's when you're going to find exactly where you need to be when you need to be. So we'll talk to you guys next time.
Okay. Bye.
Hey, y'all. Hey, now you know all this stuff. But before I go, a reminder, the content shared on this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. Okay, that's right. I am no professional. If you need a medical, mental health, or other professional support, please consult a qualified expert. Don't forget to subscribe and follow this podcast. You can find me at all things Terri Broussard Williams and movementmakercollective.com. Till next time, I'm cheering you on.